Hi everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make 2 quick cards using the Olive Branches background thin cut from Close to My Heart. So this is the thin cut and it's a large background die. So for the first card I'm going to be using evergreen cardstock and some of the gold foil cardstock. So I'm going to cut my evergreen piece down to 4.5 by 5 3/4. So it's just a little bit larger than my die. And then I'll run it through my Big Shot. And since this is pretty intricate and it's a newer die, make sure that when you run it through, you go back and forth a few times to be sure that everything is cut. So then I'm going to remove my die and I'm just going to take my piercing tool and poke out all of those bits, the small pieces. And it takes a few seconds, but it'll all come out. And then you have this beautiful piece to lay on the front of your card. Okay, so I'm going to use this stamp set that is called For the Tree, and it's an older stamp set that is still available in the online only section of my online store. And this font for the Merry Christmas sentiment, it fits perfectly in this space. So I'm sure there will be more Merry Christmas stamps to come, but this one is still available. So I am stamping it in Versamark ink. So first I went over the space with anti-static powder, and then I'm stamping in Versamark, and then I'm going to sprinkle some gold embossing powder on top, and I'm going to heat this up with my heat tool, and then it will melt. It's like magic. I love using embossing powder. It's so cool. Every time. All right. So now I'm going to take a microfiber cloth and just brush off that excess anti-static powder and kind of clean everything up. So now I'm going to take a piece of gold foil paper, and this will be my background piece that will go behind the olive branches cut piece. So that will go on the front of my card, and it's a standard A2 size card at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'll glue that down to the front of my card. This is a great die for being able to bust out a bunch of quick cards that look beautiful. So I am going to glue this to the front of my card using the Aqua Tombow. There are a couple of methods. You could use some double-sided tape and put it on the cardstock before running your die through, so you basically create a large sticker. If you have the large Xyron machine, you can run it through that. But this was the first thing that I went to, and it worked for me. So I'm going to glue that to the front of my card. And you have to be careful when you set it down. Make sure once you place it, that's where you want it to be, because when you're working with the foil paper, wet glue can smear very easily. So I was lucky with this one. So I'm just setting a block on it to kind of get it to set up a bit. Now I'm going to take some of this new Ranger liquid pearls, and this is in Carnation Red, and I'm putting dots in those areas where the little olives are, so I can kind of make this look like it's holly instead of olives. So that's my finished card. These liquid pearls, be generous when you use them because they tend to shrink up a bit when they dry, and it does take, I usually let them dry overnight just to be sure that they're completely set up. So there's my card. Okay, let's make another one. That's my die, and then I'm going to be using these sentiments from Melissa Esplin, and they are available in the core catalog. And then I'm using some new holographic paper. This one is called Majestic, and a new color called Grape for stamping. So I'm going to do the same thing as the last one and run my die through. And this one I got hung up just a little bit right there because I didn't have my platform completely set up on the base, but I rescued it. So just run it back and forth a few times to be sure everything is cut. And just a side note, if you're new to using the Big Shot or thin cut dies, it does crunch and pop a lot. So don't let that alarm you. The very first time I used one of these, a large die, and it popped and crunched so much, I thought I was ruining it, but that's just what it does. So don't worry about that. Now I'm just poking out all those little bits. And then we'll get all of that out of the way, and now I'm ready to stamp. I'm going to take the thank you stamp and load it onto a block, and then I'll stamp it in the middle with the grape ink. So these are the die and the liquid pearls are new products available. And you can go to the URL in the upper right corner of your screen to shop, or you can look at the description below. I'll have links and product numbers listed. And with your first order, you will receive both the core catalog and the September-October catalogs in your shipment together with your order. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down, the holographic paper, to my card front. Be careful with this because it does tend to smear pretty easily, but I discovered if you use a microfiber cloth and some of the myacrylics spritz spray, you can remove some glue on that holographic paper if you have any smudges or smears. So again, I'm using the Tombow Aqua Glue. And this is kind of, when you're using wet glue with the holographic papers, it's a one and done. Put it down and don't plan on shifting it or moving it around. And then I'm just using a block to set everything up. Now this liquid pearls is called Lavender Lace. And I'm going to scatter a whole bunch of those around. Again, when you squeeze it out, squeeze it vertically and be generous, and it will self-level. Sometimes if you get kind of triangular dots, you can tap it from the bottom and they'll set up a little bit better, but they tend to settle and they're nice and round like pearls. I love this stuff. It's fun to work with. Okay, so there's my finished card. I appreciate you watching my video today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, and thanks for watching.